Hello and welcome to Stocks Down Under. Today we're talking to Coby Hanoch, the CEO of Weebit Nano. Good morning, Coby.
Hi, Mark.
We've had a lot of interviews like this over the last, I think, 7 or 8 years, and this one today is special, and we'll get to that. But it's special in a way that I think it's what Weebit announced last week is actually pretty pivotal. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's go back about 7 months ago when you signed the onsemi deal. I know a lot of people are waiting to hear what's happened since. And I know, of course, it's all confidential, but in general terms, maybe you can update us on what's happened with that deal, and more generally about what sort of the initial work is involved. Once you sign a foundry like that, what's happening in the first couple of months and say the first 12 months of such a deal.
First of all, onsemi is not a foundry, it's an IDM, which is a big difference. An IDM not only manufactures semiconductors, it actually designs its own product. So it's also the customer of the fab. And that makes a big difference. And with onsemi, we can clearly feel it. First of all, to answer your question, things are moving really, really well with onsemi. They are very serious. They put in place quite a team that's working with us, and we have many meetings per week, and really pushing this forward very fast. There are the two sides of it. So there's the side of manufacturing, where, like with other fabs, like with DB HiTek or previously with Skywater, we need to teach them how to manufacture our technology, the technology transfer, what we call. And that's been going very well. We've been working with them. There's always the adapting our technology and the way that we did things at Leti or elsewhere to the specific environment that onsemi has, to their specific machines and so on. And that's been going really well. There's also the work with, since it is a product company, and I can't go into confidential information of onsemi, but obviously they didn't sign this just so that they can manufacture, and they are also looking at using this in products. And so we have been talking to their product teams and explaining to them how our ReRAM can fit into their designs, etc. So overall, it's really very, very good cooperation, very close. They have an amazing team. We're very impressed with their team, and making good progress there.
Right. And so in general terms, if you look at deals like this, it's about sort of starting to work together with these teams. Are there any sort of specifics in the initial stages of deals like that?
It's pretty much straightforward. Well, straightforward. It's so complex and everything. Working with them on the technology transfer requires quite a team on our side, quite a team on their side, and analyzing every step of the manufacturing process, and making sure that it works. And in the beginning, you start off by just testing things, trying to manufacture just the resistive layer. Then you go and you do one memory bit. You try to manufacture and check it out. So there are a lot of little steps on the way. It's really, if you look at the Gantt, it has like unbelievable number of steps, and all the activities that need to go on. But basically, I think the high level summary is we go through the full manufacturing cycle. We explain to them, we show them how it's done. We check what their machines are and how we need to maybe make some modifications or changes or updates. And of course, getting close now to doing, to having it ready, and to being able to get the test chip out.
All right. You mentioned DB HiTek before, which is a foundry, of course. That earlier was my mistake on onsemi, but yeah, DB HiTek is a foundry. Um, can you update us on what's going on there? Because you're obviously sort of further down the line in terms of the progress with the DB HiTek, and also what the next steps would be with this one.
So overall, things with DB HiTek are going well. We again a very good team cooperating well with us. We're very happy with them. Over there, of course, we already finished the technology transfer. We manufactured initial wafers. We saw that they're working. DB HiTek actually demonstrated them in a big conference in Germany and in their booth and showed it to customers. So they started now to talk to customers also about this technology. So overall, things in that sense are looking good. We did have one, I guess, I don't know if to call it a hiccup or a challenge. They use a different kind of machine than what we used in the past in Leti or in Skywater. And that caused some challenges and some delays in the work. So we actually had to do some modifications and changes and make this work with their machine. At that time, there was also a customer that came and actually added some requirement that after discussions, we decided we will also address that need. So a few things came in the middle that actually made the schedule longer, and that's why the qualification. Initially I was hoping that we would already be after qualification or at the end of qualification by now. It is somewhat delayed. I think for a good reason when it's requests that they're basically DB HiTek is reflecting requests that they see from customers. So we still are on plan to close this qualification before the end of the year. Meanwhile, we are already talking to product companies, both companies that Weebit is bringing to the table and also companies that DB HiTek is already talking to and from their customer base or the people that they knew. So this is really moving forward, and that's of course the big thing. The big thing is to get the qualification done and then start going out to the many companies that will manufacture at DB HiTek.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I had, Koby. So the next step in terms of DB HiTek, it would be once you do the qualification, you move on to commercialization. How does that work? And you alluded to it already a bit. So DB HiTek's got clients that will want ReRAM in their products. You may have a few, but can you talk us through how that works? It's as you've explained in the past, it's a sort of a chicken and egg thing with foundries. They need to have this in place before customers can actually sort of order ReRAM into their or design it into their products. But maybe you can enlighten us a little bit in terms of the commercialization steps from here on in with DB HiTek.
So I think in previous calls that we had, I used to refer to this golden triangle. Now, there's Weebit that's supplying the technology, there's the foundry that manufactures it, and there's the product company that embeds our technology into their device, and then they go to the foundry to manufacture. So you really need to get all three players to work together. Weebit and DB HiTek are working very closely together. Both sides are looking for customers, product companies that will use this. Obviously, DB HiTek wouldn't have entered this whole project if they didn't know in advance that they have customers that want to use this. So there are people already in the background that are waiting to see this move forward. A lot of companies want to see the qualification done. They just they say we'll just wait. We want to see the qualification and then we'll go in. But there are quite a few who can see already the potential, who can see that we have working chips and they can see the demo chip and so on. So with those guys, we are progressing. And of course, we need to get a design license with them. So with the fabs and IDMs, we sign manufacturing license agreements. With a product company, it's a design license agreement. And we are working now with several of the potential product companies that want to manufacture at DB HiTek.
All right, that's good stuff. Um, Last week, when you announced your 4C or you published your 4C on the ASX platform, um, so for the average sort of reader going through it initially, I find 4Cs very boring because they're always backward looking. But then on page two, there was this little Easter egg that investors came across, and it was that you signed your first product company, so your actual product company. So you mentioned onsemi as a product company, as well as a designer and a manufacturer. But it's probably good to sort of explain that difference. But let's start with this one. You announced a first product company that you signed. How significant is this for Weebit?
So obviously, having product companies is the whole reason for our existing. At the end of the day, that's really we want to get our technology into products that go out into the field that people sell. And in the IP licensing business model, the most important component is actually the royalties that you get from products that are actually sold in the field, and you get a certain percent of the revenues in one way or another. There are all kinds of different ways to calculate that. So this is, of course, very important. We want to see that happening. Weebit is expecting to have many product companies signed up, and so we're very happy. This is an important milestone for us to have the first product company. We are already engaged with quite a few others, and I think the milestone of a product company, a first product company signing a design license agreement is, of course, a very important one. And we have several of them. This company, we mentioned it's a security company from the US, managed to beat the others and sign it first. But there are definitely other agreements already that are being negotiated. We decided to put it in the quarterly. This is actually the industry norm. This is the industry practice. If you look at other semiconductor IP companies, because you have a lot of product companies, unlike fabs, foundries, IDMs that are quite limited, and each agreement there is really an important one also for their customers and for the market to know. With product companies, we're expecting to have many product companies. You don't end up announcing each and every one of them separately. It just doesn't make any sense. The current industry practice is that in the quarterly reports, people put the aggregate of, during this quarter, we had X product companies giving, some sort of general description of them. And that's what Weebit is planning to do moving forward. Just have, obviously, if there will be a specific product company that is a very big, well-known, whatever, it's a huge thing, we will consider doing a separate announcement. But in general, we'll be putting this in the quarterlies.
All right, so we'll keep an eye out in the quarterlies for those announcements. Will you still be announcing sort of the foundries, for instance, like DB
Yeah.
HiTek or other companies separately?
Yes, the foundries, foundries are important to announce because we want all of their customers to know that the foundry is licensing this technology, and we want to work with those product companies that work with that foundry. So with foundries and IDMs, we will be continuing to announce them. It's also the number of foundries and IDMs in the world is much, much smaller than the number of product companies. So I believe right now our plan is to continue to announce when we close deals with foundries and IDMs. With the product companies, unless it's a very significant one, it will be in the quarterlies.
All right. Changing direction a little bit, Koby. In terms of the cash that was generated from customers in 2025, financial year 2025 that just ended, you generated 4.5 million. And of course, in this early stage of any sort of semiconductor IP company, it's always a bit volatile, right? In terms of what's coming in. And my suspicion is, yeah, most of this will be license revenue, a bit of NRE, sort of the non-recurring revenue that you get from engineering and design work. But can you maybe explain or tell investors how they should look at this number going forward from here on in?
Well, first of all, we're proud of being generating cash, and obviously at the end of this month you'll also see the revenue report. So the company is moving forward. It is commercializing. As I mentioned in the past, the deals that we're doing with the different fabs, while license fees are normally paid up front. Right now, we are actually getting them in payments over the lifetime of the project. So you'll keep seeing even from without going into the details, we have right now DB HiTek and onsemi mainly. There are still payments expected from them. And of course, any other fabs that we sign, there will be additional license fees and NREs. I think the good thing is, and going back to the previous question, we are now starting to look at license fees, design license fees that will also start coming in, and that's going to start playing some impact as well. And some of those companies not all design companies want to do NRE. Many of them like to use the standard module and just take it as is and use it. But there are quite a few that come to us and say, "Hey, we want to have something special. Our chip is organized in a special way. It needs special things. Can you please do some NRE for us?" So there will be NRE also for the design companies, not just for the fabs. In the near future, in the next year, that's going to be the very large bulk of the revenue. We hope now that we're starting to sign up product companies that royalties we'll start seeing royalties also in the future, and that's of course the key part.
Yeah, exactly. That's the payday for this sort of business, right? The royalties.
Mhm.
Looking at the targets that you set at the beginning of the year, so maybe you can refresh my memory, but I think it's three foundries, three product companies, and of course you signed an IDM onsemi. Can you refresh our memories on these targets and also how it's looking for the rest of the year? Because we're now sort of early August, and I'm pretty sure investors are keen to see how confident you are that you will achieve these targets.
Yeah, somehow the clock keeps ticking.
Yeah,
But
always.
yes, the targets that were defined at the AGM were that until the end of 25, we should have at least three fabs and three product companies. And right now we have one and one. So in the next 5 months, we need to close at least two fabs and two product companies. We are making progress on that. I know people are tired of me always saying that we're making progress, but it's true. There is the onsemi deal definitely helped push other fabs and get them involved. Each one of these agreements is a challenge. On the product company side, we're making good progress. We have quite a few, and as I said, I think we'll be We'll be getting several more. Again, nothing's promised until we actually sign it. On the fab side, those negotiations are much, much, much more difficult, challenging, and we just need to go through this. We are now very focused on meeting these targets, and while nothing is ever guaranteed until it's actually signed, but we're making very good progress, and I believe, hope that we can meet the targets.
Good stuff, Coby. Yeah, and as you said, the clock keeps ticking, right? So that's what people are
Yeah.
looking for. But it's good to it's better to make progress than going backwards. So it's good to hear that things are moving in the right direction, and you're still involved with all these companies on so many different levels, right? So thank you very much for your time today, and yeah, we look forward to looking at that revenue number by the end of August.
Thank you.